Good morning to all the classes that joined me across Victoria yesterday. I had so much fun getting to meet you all. So thank you for tuning in. There were a couple of questions at the end that we didn't get the chance to get to, so I'm just going to answer those for you now. One that came in from Casey Fields Primary. Hi everyone at Casey Fields. Their question was, what is it like being an author? It is very, very fun being an author. As I said at the start of the session, I get to learn lots of wild and wonderful things. I've got to meet lots of really interesting people, and one of the most fun parts is that I get to use my imagination every day, which I really enjoy doing. Leopold Primary, one of their questions was, how long did it take to become an author? Well, I talked about this a little bit too. I've always been an author, I guess, because back in primary school, I was still, even back then, I was writing poems and stuff and just publishing them myself on the old school computer back at home. So I guess from then, but as far as like being a published author with these sorts of books, I don't know, 10 years, I think, probably. And as I mentioned as well, the Olive Black books, that first one took lots of patience and perseverance, and this one took me 7 years from when I had the idea to when that one got made. California Gully Primary. Hi everyone at California Gully Primary. Your question was, what year was your first book published? Well, that would be one of these Zach Power ones. I'm just trying to get it up here. Let's have a look. I don't even remember. 2010. 2010 was when these puppies were made. Actually, it might have even been, let me see, yeah, 2010 or 2009, something like that for the Zach Power books. Who was next? The next couple came from Leopold Primary again. How long does it take to publish a book? Well, you might have heard of a saying called, how long's a piece of string? It's sort of like that. Sometimes they get published very, very quickly. Other times, like the Olive Black books, it can take up to 7 years or even longer. So it depends. What made you interested in becoming an author? I think I was just always really interested in stories. So whether that be in books or film or television, or I really loved theatre and doing stuff on the stage. So yeah, just because I was interested in stories, I think. Yeah, I think that's the answer to that one. Any advice for when you get stuck? Well, remember I showed you all those post-it notes, and do you remember which one was the most important? It was that what if post-it note, wasn't it? So when I get stuck, there's a couple of different things I do. We talked about writer's block in the session as well, remember? And how I learned a lot about writer's block when I worked at YABBAs and ways to get over writer's block. So when I get stuck, I will always ask myself, what if? And kind of try to think of a way to turn my characters around. I also sometimes, and if I get a chance to speak to your school again, you might see an exercise that I do called story bugs, where we have to find at least 5 legs, put at least 5 legs on a story bug. And the reason we do at least 5 is that sometimes when you're writing, you get scared about making a mistake, or you get scared about change, and when we're fearful, we stop having fun with our writing and we stop letting our imagination go wild. So I would encourage you to do anything you can to take that fear away. So one of the things what I do when I get stuck as well is say, I'm just going to think of 5 ideas, and they don't have to be the world's best ideas. I don't have to use every single one of them, but I'm just going to think of 5 ideas. And often what happens, and you'll see this in class if you get to do a story bug in class, once you get going, you kind of get on a roll, and then you come up with lots of different ways, because there's always more than one way to approach a story. Next question is, we answered that one in the class. We answered that one in this session. I'm just firing through these. Sorry, what's your hope? Another one was, have I written an autobiography? No, I haven't written an autobiography. That would be something I might do years and years from now. And what job did you first want to do? Well, I change my mind all the time about what job I want to do. When I was in high school, for a while, I wanted to be an engineer, and then I wanted to be an architect, and then I wanted to be an actor, and then I wanted to be a psychologist, and then I wanted to be a teacher, and then I wanted to work in marketing, then I wanted to work in advertising. I kind of changed my mind. And do you know what? Writer it wasn't even something that was kind of on the cards then. So, but yeah, stories was definitely always something I enjoyed. I just never thought you could make a proper job out of it. So I feel very lucky that this is my job and what I get to do all the time now. That covers all the questions. Let me just quickly run my eye over this. Yes, there were a couple more that we answered in the session, but those are the ones that we missed out on. So thank you again for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next virtual author program with YABBAs and the Department of Education. And I hope you enjoy it. Bye.